This video looks at composite functions. Composite functions is best explained with an example. So if I have two functions and one of the functions is f of x, and f of x is equal to 2x plus 5, and the other function is g of x, and g of x is equal to 3x, and I asked you to evaluate f o g x, we must figure out the answer for g of x, then sub this answer into f of x to figure out the answer for f o g x. In English, f o g x means g before f. Now, I'm pretty sure that you have absolutely no idea what is going on at the moment. However, when I explain with another few examples, this will hopefully make much more sense. So, for example, here we have g of x, and that's 3x. And then we found the answer for g of x, so we're going to sub it in and figure out what that is for f of x. So the answer for g of x was 3x. So then we sub in 3x for x in f of x. So we get 3 multiplied by 2, which gives us 6x, and plus 5. So then f o g x is 6x plus 5. Now, if we were asked to figure out f o g of 2, well, that means g before f. So we do g first. So we get g of 2. And we know that g is 3x. So it's 3 by 2. So then the answer for g of 2 is equal to 6. We take this answer and sub it into f of x. So we're getting f of 6 now. And that's 2 times 6 plus 5. So 2 times 6 is 12. Plus 5 will give us 17. Now, again, this might be a little bit confusing, but we're going to go through loads of examples, and once we've gone through those examples, hopefully it will make much more sense. So, question 2.1. f of x is equal to 6x plus 2, and g of x is equal to x cubed, where f and g are functions that map from OR to OR. So what that means is, you can put in real numbers, and I hope we're okay with real numbers, and you can get real numbers back out. So your domain is real numbers, and your codomain is also real numbers. So any number can be your domain, so you can take any number at all, and you can get out any number at all. Now, that doesn't mean that your range is real. Your range might just be the numbers 1, 2, and 3, in which case they would be natural numbers, but that doesn't matter in the context of this question. So what we have here is we have figure out f o g of 3. So that means do g before f. So g here is equal to x cubed. And we need g of 3. So that's going to be 3 cubed. So for this, we're going to get an answer of 27. Now, then we need to do f. And f of x is equal to 6x plus 2. Now we need to put the answer we got from when we did g of x in for f of x. So we got 27. So we're going to replace x with 27. So here, when we figure that out, we get 164. So your answer for this one is 164. The second part of this question asks us to get g of f of 3. So in English, this means f before g. So we know we have to do f of x first, and f of x is equal to 6x plus 2. We need f of 3, so that's 6 times 3 plus 2. When we put that into our calculator, we're going to get 20. Then we need to do g of x, and we know that g of x is equal to x cubed. So we have g of 20, which is equal to 20 cubed. So in the end, we're going to get the answer of 8,000. Now, so these questions are all the exact same. So if you can get one type of question, you can get the other, because there's no difference in them at all. So for example, question 2.2. It tells us if f of x is equal to x squared plus 4 and g of x is equal to 5x, find f o g 10. So I'm going to write that out. So that means g before f. So we have g of x, and that's equal to 5x. we want g of 10, so that's 5 by 10. So then g of 10 is going to give us 50. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to do f of x, and f of x is equal to x squared plus 4. Now, we take the answer from the first one, which was 50, and replace x with it. So then it's 50 squared plus 4. So f of 50 is going to give us 2,504. Now, question 2.3 will hopefully solidify everything that you've kind of got to this stage, and it will start making much more sense. So here we have FOG3 is the first one. So in this one, we start with g because it's g before f. So we know that g of x is equal to x squared. So g of 3 is going to be 3 squared. So g of 3 is 9. Next, then we need to find f of x. And f of x is 5x plus 1. And we take f of 9 because that's the answer we got in the first part. And it's 5 of 9 plus 1. So f of 9 is going to be 5 times 9, which is 45, plus 1, 46. The second one then is GOF of 3. So for this one we start with f of x, so it's f before g, and f of x is 5x plus 1. So f of 3 is going to be 5 times 3 plus 1, and f of 3 then is going to be 5 times 3, which is 15, plus 1, which is going to give us 16. Then we need to do g of x, and g of x is equal to x squared. So then for this one we have to get g of 16, which is equal to 16 squared. So then the g of 16 is equal to 256. The third one then, we have FOH of minus 4. So this means h before f. So h of x is x. So if we're getting h of minus 4, that's just going to be minus 4. So then h of minus 4 is equal to minus 4. Then we have to do f of x. And f of x is equal to 5x plus 1. And we have f of minus 4 is going to be 5 times minus 4 plus 1. So f of minus 4 is going to be minus 19. The fourth part of this question is FOF 5. So this means f before f. So we have f of x, which is equal to 5x plus 1. So we have to get f of 5, which is equal to 5 times 5 plus 1. So f of 5 is 26. Then it's f of x again, and we know f of x is equal to 5x plus 1. So then f of 26 is equal to 5 times 26 plus 1. When you figure that out, f of 26 is 131. And the final part, part 5, we have FOGOH of 2. So that means h before g before f. So we have h of x is equal to x. So then h of 2 is just going to be 2. Write that out again so we keep it in the same pattern. Then we need to do g of x. And g of x is x squared. So then g of 2 is going to be 2 squared. So then g of 2 is going to be 4. And finally, we have to do f of x. And f of x is equal to 5x plus 1. So we have f of 4, 5 times 4 plus 1. So f of 4 is going to be 21. That's as complicated, I hope, as these questions are going to get. There might be a tiny bit of a difference in how it's written and things like that, but in terms of the content and understanding what's going on, if you think of it's the second letter before you do the first letter. So that G before you do F, or F before you do G, depending on where it is. Now, so just one example of how it can be written a little bit different too. So in this question we have f of x is equal to x plus 3 and g of x is equal to x squared plus minus 1. And here they've it written like this. It's the exact same thing, there's just no O in the centre of it. So we do g before we do f. So in this one we have g of x first. So g of x is equal to x squared minus 1. So g of 2 is going to be 2 squared minus 1. So g of 2 is going to be 4 minus 1, which is going to give us an answer of 3. Then we have to do f of x, and f of x here is x plus 3. And we need f of 3, so it's going to be 3 plus 3. So in this one, what we're going to get is we're going to get f of 3 is equal to 6. In the second one here, we have f before g. So we know that f of x is equal to x plus 3. So f of minus 1 is equal to minus 1 plus 3. So we get that f of minus 1 is equal to 2. And then we have to do g of x, and that's equal to x squared minus 1. And we have g of 2, so 2 squared minus 1, which is going to give us an answer of 3. Now the final type we would have is sometimes instead of using numbers they like to use letters instead. So the next one we have is we have f g x, so that means g before f of x. So we know that gx is equal to x squared minus 1. So we got to leave it like that because that's what we have. And then we have f of x, and we know f of x is equal to x plus 3. But the answer of g of x was x squared minus 1. So we replace x with x squared minus 1. So the answer for this one is going to be x squared plus 2. So that's the third one. I'm going to do the last and remaining one down here at the bottom. So we have g f of x. So that means do f before g. So we know that f of x is equal to x plus 3. And we can't really do much with that because it wants us to do it with x. But then we know that g of x is equal to x squared minus 1. But from f of x we got the answer of x plus 3. So every time we see x we replace with x plus 3. So to multiply out these brackets then, I hope we're okay with multiplying out the brackets. We'll end up with x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9 minus 1. And finally at the end we'll get x squared plus 6x plus 8. And that's our answer for that one. So I'm hoping that these are making sense. Again, if there's any issues with anything that I've done here, send me an email and I will go through any parts of them for you. But otherwise, that's the end of this video.